Hey, what's up, guys? We are now launching, let's see, it's Monday, April 20th. So we're launching week 3 here of distance learning. I've really enjoyed a lot of the work that you've submitted, and I really appreciate the participation. I've seen a huge amount of participation from you guys here in the first couple weeks. I can't tell you how awesome that is. And it just shows that you guys are really motivated and engaged, and you really need to find ways to keep yourself busy and stay active in your learning. I think that's a really important thing and really admirable. So really thank you to everybody who has participated. And let's kind of jump into what we're doing this week. So last week, first of all, actually, you learned a little bit about coral bleaching and kind of the detrimental effects of a warming planet and ocean acidification, and how it's causing these little microorganisms, these algae that live inside the coral, to die off. And this is a big source of food for the coral. So the fact that these coral are dying off, they bleach, they literally turn white, and it's pretty much impossible for them to recover. There are some ways that scientists are enacting different strategies to help recuperate these corals. It's not going to be nearly the same as a naturally produced coral reef ecosystem, but it is a pretty devastating thing. It's happening at a much faster rate in more recent months and more recent weeks. So, but anyway, regardless, I've really appreciated the comments that you guys have given in the discussion post. I've read a few of them. I read a few of them last Thursday or Friday, and I can see there's a lot more now. There's 95 new posts. That's awesome. So I hope you watched the video if you were able to, or the movie rather. Like I said last week, it's really sad that we weren't able to watch it together as a class, because it is a really well done film. But if you didn't or weren't able to, then you did have those alternatives, and those are just as informative. So I am going to respond to a few of you guys. Anything that stands out to me in those discussion posts, I'll directly respond to you. So keep an eye out for anything from me in terms of the discussion posts, and I'll start reading those today and tomorrow. So this week, yeah, your weekly check-in, as always. I really appreciate your honesty during these weekly check-ins. It really means a lot that you guys are taking the time to respond to those questions. So thank you. The questions have changed this week. The first two are the same. Just kind of how are you feeling in general and about your academics as well. And next second two questions are completely different than what we've been doing, but just a little fun question here. If you had to work, you're kind of, I guess, in a way being forced to, but didn't need the money, what would you do, right? So if money wasn't an object and you had a choice of what work you could be doing, something that you're really passionate about, what would you do? I'm really curious to know. And then finally, number 4 is, what is one thing about marine biology that you've always wanted to know? So maybe think about reasons why you took this class, and hopefully I can get that answered to you in my response to your weekly check-in. All right, and we've talked about coral bleaching here, so let's take a closer look at some specific reefs. So you're going to get an opportunity to explore some reefs here. This is a pretty cool activity I think you guys will enjoy. So let's kind of jump right into it and talk about those details. So first off, you will be assigned a specific reef. Okay, so you're going to be exploring and observing a specific reef somewhere in the world. All right, and you can see those are listed here. So you have the name of the reef itself, and you also have the country that it's located in. So I put the country there just this morning so that you can have a better time, an easier time finding that specific reef, and that'll make more sense here in a second. These are all blacked out, but you are going to be looking for your names. Once I finish recording, I'll make these white again so you can see your names, but look for your name here. I mixed in group periods 4 and 5. So wherever your name is, that's going to be the reef that you're assigned to. And then what's really nice is that look for your name and other people in your group. And if you'd like, it's not a requirement, but this is a great opportunity for you to reach out to those people and collaborate with each other on this assignment, and share your responses. Not copying your responses, but kind of discussing the different observations that you had, And that way, if you're a little stuck or just need some extra guidance, then you can reach out to those people or myself as well. All right, so here's what you're going to do. Using your assigned reef, you're going to go to this link here. So you're going to use the Google Earth Oceans website to help you fill out this table below. Okay, you're going to find your assigned location from this table. Okay, so let me open this up, and it's a really cool website. It's based on Google Earth, obviously, and once it loads. All right. So what you can do, you guys are familiar with Google Earth. We've used it before, but you'll notice all these kind of little markers here. And this is from a project where scuba divers went to locations all around the world. I'm blanking on the name of the project, but it'll come to me. Scuba divers went all over the world, and they took these giant underwater cameras. And it was really cool. They went scuba diving with a big crew, and they kind of took pictures in these different coral reefs in different locations around the world, and they uploaded it to Google Earth, and now you can go out and explore those as if you're familiar with Google Street View. Like you can walk around on the streets, right? It's the exact same concept, but with coral reefs. So it's a pretty remarkable thing that they were able to do here. So what you're going to do is go to your assigned reef, find it in the Google Earth website, and I gave you the countries so you have an easier time finding it, right? So I'm gonna do Columbia Deep as an example, right? Columbia Deep is in Mexico. Specifically, it's in Cozumel, which is an island just off the coast of Cancun. So if I am assigned Columbia Deep, okay, I'm gonna find Mexico. So I'm gonna go over here to North America. Here's Mexico. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So notice a lot more pop up here. I'm going to zoom in some more. Okay. Actually, first of all, before I go there, I want to mention one thing. What you don't want to do is, there's a search bar here. Okay. So you can search different things. But what you don't want to do is look up Columbia Deep, right? So here's what's going to happen. Watch, I'll show you guys. So if I click search, okay, and I search Columbia Deep, right? First of all, it doesn't even show up, okay? So if I look up Columbia Deep, what's going to happen is if I click one of these, right? Notice these are all in Maryland. But if Columbia Deep, Mexico did show up and I clicked one of these, okay, all of these markers would go away. So that's why I'm giving you the country. So if you need to do a quick Google search, right? So if I look up, Columbia Deep, Mexico, I can kind of have a better idea of where that reef would be. Or you can just kind of do trial and error, like start clicking all of these and find one that's called Columbia Deep. So don't use that, okay? It's going to make your life a little bit harder. So just start clicking around. Here's a little island. This is actually Cozumel. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit and then click on one of them, and that is Santa Rosa Wall, right? So that's not it. So let's close that. This one, Cozumel. Nope, that's not it either. I believe it's this one. Yeah, Columbia Deep. Click on it and then watch what happens. Get this weird visuals here, but then you're underwater, underneath the ocean, and here you can see one of those scuba divers on the crew, and you can drag your map around, your viewer around, and take a look at this coral reef. It's a really awesome piece of technology that these guys were able to put together. You can see little fish swimming around, you can see the different types of coral, and you can move around too as if you were swimming. So if I move around here, right? Here's some staghorn coral that's growing. Looks like some brain corals growing right here. And then you get a bigger congregation of fish over here. So this is what you're going to be, and there's a shark over there in the background. That's pretty cool. This is what you're going to be using for your assignment for today. Okay, you're going to be exploring your assigned reef exactly like this. All right, so what will you be doing? What will you be looking for? First of all, what's your assigned location? Okay, that's pretty straightforward. What type of reef is this? So here you're going to have to go back to the Google Slides, the PowerPoint for this unit, and look at the different types of reefs. So what type of reef are you looking at? Is it a fringing barrier? Is it an atoll, or is it a patch reef? Okay, so you're going to put that response here. What types of coral growth do you see? Okay, do you see staghorn, or do you see brain coral, just like I mentioned? Okay, what types of coral do you see? Again, go back to the PowerPoint for that. What colors do you observe? All right, just look at all the colors. Sometimes, this one isn't as bright as many coral reefs, but you do see some nice bright yellows here. You get the bright blues in the fish. There's definitely a lot of beiges and tans. There's some black colors in there. So what kind of colors do you see? This one, not as colorful as some of the other ones that we might run into. Species observed. This one, not looking for exact species, just, if you notice, maybe if you zoom in a little bit, if you zoom in a little bit, then maybe you'll be able to see, an eel hiding somewhere in a little hiding spot. You can zoom in here like this. Or if you see, like there's a little fish, it looks like right there. Okay, yeah, there's a little fish. I'm not looking for the exact species of the fish, just describe it. Okay, be general. I'm not looking for anything too specific here, but I am just looking for general observations. There's another one right there. This one's a little bigger, right? This big black fish here. Okay, so that is for species observed. Abundance, so think about the abundance of each of the species that you observe. Is it high, medium, or low abundance, right? So in other words, if we go back here, let's look at this blue fish since it kind of stands out here. If we zoom in, right, there's one of those here, but we don't really see any other ones around. I'm sure there are somewhere. Maybe they're hiding. Maybe we're just kind of in the wrong spot. But for this blue fish right here, abundance is pretty low, okay? It's very low, actually. This one, we see two of these blackfish here. It looks like some more in the back. So that one, this species, I would say it's like a medium abundance, okay? So low, medium, or high abundance of each species observed. And then finally, connecting back to what we learned about from chasing coral, do you see any evidence of bleaching, any evidence of damage, or an unhealthy ecosystem in general? And please explain why you think that. Okay, this one looks pretty healthy. Okay, it's not that colorful, but it doesn't have to be colorful to be a healthy reef. But we do see some coral growing here. This is a nice blue coral. There's fish around. It doesn't look like there's too much disturbance. You don't see much bleaching. It's not like a pure white like we saw in the videos. So this one, I wouldn't see much evidence of any damage or bleaching. Okay, and please explain why you think that. All right, and next, do some deeper research. Okay, so you're gonna have to do some Google searches for this, but do some deeper research about your specific reef. What larger reef system is yours a part of? Some of you guys will be, for example, the Great Barrier Reef. That's a larger system. So if I go back up here, like Saunders Reef, right? That's a small subsection of the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. Okay, so that would be the larger reef. Do some basic research about your reef system. Discuss your findings of the overall health of that ecosystem. Okay. How do humans rely on this reef system economically, socially, culturally, and scientifically? You think of Cozumel, Cancun. It's a high tourism area, so that would be an economic benefit, social benefit as well, and cultural benefit really for the Cancun area. Number 4, what negative effects have been seen as a result of human activity? Think about the gizmos that you guys did a couple weeks ago. Think about pollution, pH, temperature. Maybe storms have affected the health of the ecosystem in a way. Sewage could be an issue, or maybe there's something else that you come across in your research. And number 5, what conservation efforts have been put in place to protect this reef ecosystem or this reef system? What have governments or people done to help conserve this area? One, for example, is Hanauma Bay in Hawaii. I believe it's the whole state of Hawaii banned sunscreens with oxaloacetate, I believe it's called, which is one of the main ingredients of sunscreen. And they've learned through research that type of sunscreen actually harms and can kill off coral reefs. So that's one thing that's been put in place, for example, in Hanauma Bay in Hawaii. One piece of conservation effort. And finally, number 6, if you were the head of an environmental group, what potential future conservation efforts would you like to put in place to further the preservation, and try to focus on efforts that have not yet been implemented, or discuss improving the ones already used? Okay, so that's your assignment for the week. I think you guys will enjoy that one. And as always, reach out if you have any questions, and that will be submitted through the Dropbox. Yep. So you can drop that in right here whenever you're finished. And that's pretty much it for the week. So